Today is July 14th, 2026. And on the Vaishnav calendar, we're consulting. It's the disappearance day of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and also the disappearance day of Sri Gadadhar Pandit, as well as the anniversary of the Gundicha Marjan. Gundicha Marjan means the cleansing of the Gundicha temple. And that's a pastime described in the 12th chapter of Madhya Lila of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we'll read some of that. And this morning before japa, we read some bhajans from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Okay, we can start with some invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Om Ganatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayamupa Kadamayam Tadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitan Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagna Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurang Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatayubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Sadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Bande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodidal Gododaya Pushpan Bandal Chitral Sundal Tamonudal. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. They are just like the sun and the moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance in this age of Kali and to wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Svarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. And the pranam mantra for Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gora Shakti Svarupaya Rupanuga Varayate. Translation: I offer my respectful obeisances unto Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who is the personified transcendental energy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is a strict follower of the six Goswamis, headed by Sri Rupa. So this is a bhajan, a poem called Sri Nam from Bhaktivinoda's collection of poetry bhajans called Gita Vali. Gai Gora Madhur Svare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Gora Sundar sings in a very sweet voice, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gora is golden and Sundar is beautiful form, the beautiful golden form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Grihe tako, vane tako, sadahari, bole tako, suke duke, bulo nako, badane, harinam kurore. Whether you are a householder or a sannyasi, constantly chant Hari Hari. Don't forget this chanting either in happiness or distress. Just fill your mouth with Harinam. Maya jale padahoye achomiche kajeloye ekona chaitana pe radha madhav nam bolore. You are bound up in Maya's net and forced to toil fruitlessly. Now you have attained full consciousness in the human form of life, so chant the names of Radha Madhava. Jivana hoilo shesha na bajile rishikesha bhakti vinodo padesha ekbar tam ras matore. Your life may end at any moment and you have not served the Lord of the senses, Rishikesh. Take this advice from Bhakti Vinod. Just once relish the nectar of the holy name. Next, from Kalyana Kalpataru, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has many collections of bhajans and poetries, prolific book writer, poetry writer, bhajan writer. He raised 13 children. His glories go on and on and on. So this is Gopinath part 1. This is just like it's a special day to enter into the mood of these transcendental personalities, and then the transcendental personalities and the transcendental pastimes. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Sri Gadadhar Pandit, Gundicha Marjan, and we enter into that mood and that vibration, and then our consciousness enters into the sweet eternal pastimes of where these personalities are absorbed. Gopinath mama nivedano shuno vishai durjana sada kamarata kichu nahi moraguna. O Gopinath, Lord of the cowherd girls, please hear my prayer. I am a wicked materialist, always addicted to worldly desires, and no good qualities do I possess. Gopinath amara barasa tumi tomara charane loinu sarana tomara kinkura ami. Oh Gopinath, you are my only hope, and so I have taken shelter at your lotus feet. I am your eternal servant. Gopinath Kimone Shokti Be More Najani Bhakati Karme Jadamati Podechi Samsara Gore. Oh Gopinath, how will you purify me? I do not know what devotion is, and my materialistic mind is absorbed in fruitive work. I have fallen into this dark and perilous worldly existence. Gopinath Sakali Tomara Maya Nahi Mama Bala Gyana Sunir Mala Svadina Nahe E Kaya. Oh Gopinath. Okay, okay. Oh Gopinath, weeping and weeping, this sinner begs for an eternal place at your divine feet. Please give me your mercy. Gopinath, tumi to sakali paro durjane tarite tomara shakati ke ache papira aro. Oh Gopinath, since you can do anything, you have the power to deliver all sinners. Who is a greater sinner than I, Gopinath? Tumi kripa parabara jivera karane asya prapanche lila koile suvistar. Oh Gopinath, you are the ocean of mercy. After entering this phenomenal world, you expand your divine pastimes for the sake of the fallen souls. Gopinath amiki doshe doshe asura sakala poilo charana vinoda takilo bosi. O Gopinath, although all the demons you killed attained your lotus feet, this Bhakti Vinod is so sinful that he has remained in worldly existence. Hare Krishna. So we just enter into a few drops of the ocean of Bhakti Vinod Thakur's humility there and his absorption in the holy name. And well, at this time, we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Majjhima Lila, chapter 12, entitled The Cleansing of the Gundicha Temple. Marjana. Marjana means cleansing. Chaito Darpana Marjanam, Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapnam, Shayakirava Chandrika Vitaranam, Vijivadu Jivanam. Yes. Okay. So the summary of this chapter. In his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur summarizes this chapter as follows. So Prabhupada's summarizing Bhaktivinoda Thakur's summary. The king of Orissa, Maharaj Prataparudra, tried his best to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Nityananda Prabhu and the other devotees informed the Lord about the king's desire, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not agree to see him. At that time, Sri Nityananda Prabhu devised a plan, and when he sent a piece of the Lord's outward garment to the king, the next day, when Ramananda Roy again entreated Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to see the king, the Lord, denying the request, asked Ramananda Roy to bring the king's son before him. The prince visited the Lord dressed like a Vaishnava, and this awakened remembrance of the king. Awakened remembrance of Krishna. Thus, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered the son of Maharaj Prataparudra. After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu washed the Gundicha house before the Rath Yatra took place. He then took his bath at Indradyumna and partook of prasad in the garden nearby. While Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu washed the temple of Gundicha, some Gaudiya Vaishnav washed the lotus feet of the Lord and drank the water. This incident is very significant, for it awoke within the devotee ecstatic love. Then again, the son of Advaita Prabhu named Gopal fainted during kirtan, and when he did not come to his senses, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu favored him by awakening him. There was also some humorous talk between Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu during prasad. Advaita Prabhu said that Nityananda Prabhu was unknown to anyone, and that it was not the duty of a household or Brahmin to accept dinner with a person unknown in society. In answer to this humorous statement, Sri Nityananda Prabhu replied that Advaita Acharya was a monist, and that one could not know how his mind could be turned by eating with such an impersonal monist. The conversation of these two Prabhus, Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu, carried a deep meaning that only an intelligent man can understand. After all, the Vaishnavas finished their luncheon. Sarup Damodar and others took their prasad within the room. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took great pleasure when he saw the Jagannath deity after the deity's retirement. At that time, he was accompanied by all the devotees, and all of them were very pleased. Okay. So, I'm going to start with text 72 of this chapter. Pratame kasi misre prabhu bola ila padicha patra sarva bhaume bola na anila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first of all called for Kashi Mishra, then for the superintendent of the temple, then for Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Tina Jana Pashe Prabhu Hasya Kahila Gundicha Mandira Marjan Seva Maginila. When these three people came before the Lord, he begged them to wash the temple known as Gundicha. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Gundicha temple is situated 2 miles northeast of the Jagannath temple. At the time of the Ratha Yatra festival, Lord Jagannath goes to the Gundicha temple from his original temple and stays there for 1 week. After 1 week, he returns to his original temple. It is understood by hearsay that the wife of Indradyumna, the king who established the Jagannath temple, was known as Gundicha. There is also mention of the name of the Gundicha temple in authoritative scripture. The area of the Gundicha temple is estimated to be 288 cubits by 215 cubits. The main temple inside is about 36 cubits by 30 cubits, and the meeting hall is 32 cubits by 30 cubits. And my first visit to India was early in 1988. I went with a group of Israeli devotees, and we hooked up with a group of devotees from Holland. And we visited the Gundicha temple. Because there's some bias based on skin color, we weren't allowed inside. But there was a Gaudiya Mat temple right next to the Gundicha temple, and we had prasad there. And there was this very elderly devotee, and I remember we told him we were from Israel. He had no clue what Israel is. And it was very, very, very sweet exchanges, very sweet exchanges. 1988 was the one time I visited Jagannath Puri. All the other times I went to India, mostly I saw seminar rooms. I did some touring of pilgrimage places here and there, but in 1988 I went. Actually, I did go to some meetings in Mayapur because I was temple president of Tel Aviv, so I did go to some meetings in that capacity. Upon hearing the Lord's request for them to wash the Gundicha temple, the Padicha, the superintendent of the temple, said, "My dear sir, we are all your servants. Whatever you desire is our duty to perform. The king gave a special order for me to do without delay whatever your lordship orders. My dear lord, washing the temple is not service befitting you. Nonetheless, if you wish to do so, it is to be accepted as one of your pastimes. Kintu gata samarjani bahuta chahiye agyadeha ajisaba ihan ani diye." To wash the temple, you need many water pots and brooms. Therefore, order me. I can immediately bring all these things to you. As soon as the superintendent understood the desire of the Lord, he immediately delivered 100 new water pots and 100 brooms for sweeping the temple. The next day, early in the morning, the Lord took his personal associates with him and with his own hands smeared sandalwood pulp on their bodies. We're reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 12. Sri Haste Dila Sabare Eka Eka Marjani Sabagana Lana Prabhu Chalila Apani. He then gave each devotee a broom with his own hand, and taking all of them personally with him, the Lord went to Gundicha. In this way, the Lord and his associates went to cleanse the Gundicha temple. At first, they cleansed the temple with the brooms. Bitara Mandira Upar Sakala Majila Simhasana Maji Puna Stapana Karila. The Lord cleansed everything inside the temple very nicely, including the ceiling. He then took up the sitting place, Singhasan, cleansed it, and again put it in its original place. Chotabada Mandira Koila Marjana Shodan Pache Taiche Shodila Shri Jagam Mohan. Thus the Lord and his companions cleansed and swept all the temple's buildings, big and small, and finally cleansed the area between the temple and the meeting place. Indeed, hundreds of devotees were engaged in cleansing all around the temple, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was personally carrying out the operation just to instruct others. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu washed and cleansed the temple in great jubilation, chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna all the time. Similarly, all the devotees were also chanting at the same time, performing their respective duties. Duli dusar tanu dekite shoban kahan kahan ashu jale kare samarjan. The entire beautiful body of the Lord was covered with dust and dirt. In this way it became transcendently beautiful. At times, when cleansing the temple, the Lord shed tears, and in some places he even cleansed with those tears. After this, the place where the deity's food was kept, the Boga Mandir, was cleansed. Then the yard was cleansed, and then all the residential quarters, one after the other. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu collected all the straw, dust, and grains of sand in one place, he gathered it all in his cloth and threw it outside. E mata bhakta ganakari nijavase trina duli bahire pelaya paramaharishe. Following the example of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the devotees in great jubilation began to gather straws and dust with their own cloths and throw them outside the temple. The Lord then told the devotees, I can tell how much you have labored and how well you have cleansed the temple simply by seeing all the straw and dust you have collected outside. Even though all the devotees collected dirt in one pile, the dirt collected by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was much greater. After the inside of the temple was cleansed, the Lord again allotted areas for the devotees to cleanse. Sukshmi Duli Trina Kankara Sabakara Hadur Balamate Shudanakaraha Prabhura Antapur. The Lord then ordered everyone to cleanse the inside of the temple very perfectly by taking finer dust, straws and grains of sand and throwing them outside. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the Vaishnavas cleansed the temple for the second time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy to see the cleansing work. While the temple was being swept, about 100 men stood ready with filled water pots, and they simply awaited the Lord's order to throw them. Jala anabali abe Mahaprabhu kahila tabe shatakata ani Prabhu agedila. As soon as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called for water, all the men immediately brought the 100 water pots which were completely filled and delivered them before the Lord. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first washed the main temple and then thoroughly washed the ceiling, the walls, the floor, the sitting place, Simhasan, and everything else within the room. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself and his devotees began to throw water onto the ceiling. When the water fell, it washed the walls and floor. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to wash the sitting place of Lord Jagannath with his own hands, and all the devotees began to bring water to the Lord. All the devotees within the temple began to wash. Each one had a broom in his hand, and in this way they cleansed the temple of the Lord. Kehajala anideya Mahaprabhu rakare, Kehajala deya tanya charana upare. Someone brought water to pour into the hands of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and someone poured water on his lotus feet. The water that fell from the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was drunk by someone who hid himself. Someone else begged for that water, and another person was giving that water in charity. After the room was washed, the water was let out through an outlet, and it then flowed and filled the yard outside. The Lord mopped the rooms with his own clothes, and he polished the throne with them also. In this way, all the rooms were cleansed with 100 water pots. After the rooms had been cleansed, the minds of the devotees were as clean as the rooms. When the temple was cleansed, it was purified, cool, and pleasing, just as if the Lord's own pure mind had appeared. Since hundreds of men were engaged in bringing water from the lake, there was no place to stand on the banks. Consequently, someone began to draw water from a well. Hundreds of devotees brought water in the pots, and hundreds took the empty pots away to fill them up again. Nityananda Advaita Svaruparati Puri Inha Vinu Arasaba Ane Jalabari. With the exception of Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Swarup Damodar, Brahmananda Bharati, and Paramananda Puri, everyone was engaged in filling the water pots and bringing them there. Many of the water pots were broken when people collided with one another, and hundreds of men had to bring new water pots to fill. Jale bare gara doya, kare hari dwani, Krishna hari dwani vina, ara nahi shuni. Some people were filling the pots and others were washing the rooms, but everyone was engaged in chanting the holy name of Krishna and Hari. Krishna Krishna kahi kare gatera pratan, Krishna Krishna kahi kare gata samarpan. One person begged for a water pot by chanting the holy names Krishna, Krishna, and another delivered a pot while chanting Krishna, Krishna, ye, ye, kahe, se, kahe, Krishna, name, Krishna, namaha, ila, sanketa, sabha, kame. Whenever anyone had to speak, he did so by uttering the holy name of Krishna. Consequently, the holy name of Krishna became an indication for everyone who wanted something. Prema Veshe Prabhu Kahe Krishna Krishna Nam Ekale Prema Veshe Kare Shata Janera Kam. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was vibrating the holy name of Krishna in ecstatic love, he himself was performing the work of hundreds of men. It appeared as though Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were cleansing and washing with 100 hands. He approached everyone just to teach them how to work. When he saw someone doing nicely, the Lord praised him. But if he saw that someone was not working to his satisfaction, he immediately chastised that person, not bearing him any grudge. The Lord would say, "You have done well. Please teach this to others so that they may act in the same way." As soon as they heard Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say this, everyone became ashamed. Thus they began to work with great attention. They washed the Jagan Mohan area and then the place where food was kept. All other places were also washed. In this way, the meeting place was washed, the entire yard, the raised sitting places, the kitchen, and every other room. Thus all places around the temple were thoroughly washed within and without. After everything was thoroughly washed, a Vaishnava from Bengal, who was very intelligent and simple, came and poured water on the lotus feet of the Lord. The Gaudiya Vaishnava then took that water and drank it himself. Seeing that, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt a little unhappy and was also outwardly angry. Although the Lord was certainly satisfied with him, he became angry externally in order to establish the etiquette of religious principles. Siksha lagi svarupe daki kahila tanhare e deka tomara gaudiya ra vyavahare. The Lord then called for Swarup Damodar and told him, "Just see the behavior of your Bengali Vaishnava. This person from Bengal has washed my feet within the temple of the personality of Godhead. Not only that, but he has drunk the water himself. Now, I now do not know what my destination is because of this offense. Indeed, your Bengali Vaishnava has greatly implicated me." Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It is significant that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Swarup Damodar Goswami that the Bengali Vaishnava was your Bengali Vaishnava. This means that all Gaudiya Vaishnavas who are followers of the Chaitanya cult are subordinate to Swarup Damodar Goswami. Swarup Damodar Goswami is an inconceivably intimate associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Parampara system is very strictly observed by Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's personal secretary was Swarup Damodar Goswami. The next group of devotees was the 6 Goswamis, then Kaviraj Goswami. Kaviraj Goswami, he's the author, transpersonal authorship. He's the revealer of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is necessary to observe the parampara system of the Chaitanya cult. There are many offenses one can commit while serving the Lord, and these are described in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Hari Bhakti Vilas, and other books. According to the rules and regulations, no one should accept obeisances in the temple of the Lord before the deity. nor is it proper for a devotee to offer obeisances and touch the feet of the spiritual master before the deity. This is considered an offense. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself was personally the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, it was not actually offensive to wash his lotus feet in the temple. However, because he was playing the part of an acharya, the Lord considered himself an ordinary human being. He also wanted to give instructions to ordinary human beings. The point is that even though one plays the part of a spiritual master, he should not accept obeisances or permit a disciple to wash his feet before the deity. This is a matter of etiquette. Text 128. Tabe Swarup Gosani Taragade Hatadiya Dekamari Purira Bahira Rakilena Lana. At this point, Swarup Damodar Goswami caught the Gaudiya Vaishnava by the neck and, giving him a little push, ejected him from the Gundicha Puri temple and made him stay outside. After Swarup Damodar Goswami returned within the temple, he requested Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to excuse that innocent person. After this incident, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very satisfied. He then asked all of the devotees to sit down in 2 lines on both sides. The Lord then personally sat in the middle and picked up all kinds of straw, grains of sand, and dirty things. While Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was picking up the straws and grains of sand, he said, I shall gather everyone's collection, and I shall ask whoever has collected less than all the others to pay a fine of sweet cakes and sweet rice. In this way, all the quarters of the Gundicha temple were completely cleansed and cleared. All quarters were cool and spotless like one's cleansed and pacified mind. When the water from the different rooms was finally let out through the halls, it appeared as if new rivers were rushing out to meet the waters of the ocean. E mata pura dvar age patayata sakala shodila kaha tahate ke varnipe kata. Outside the gateway of the temple, all the roads were also cleansed, and no one can tell exactly how this was done. So this is a true historical pastime, and simultaneously we can see it as a metaphor for our attempts to cleanse our hearts and our minds. So in this purport to this verse 135, Srila Prabhupada is illuminating that metaphorical meaning. Srila Prabhupada writes, in commenting on the cleansing of the Gundicha temple, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Thakur says that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was personally giving instructions on how one should receive Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, within one's cleansed and pacified heart. If one wants to see Krishna seated in his heart, he must first cleanse the heart as prescribed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshastaka, Chaito Darpana Marjana. In this age, everyone's heart is unclean as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, Ridanta Stoya Bhadrani. To wash all dirty things accumulated within the heart, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised everyone to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. The first result will be that the heart is cleansed, Chaito Darpana Marjanam. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.17 also confirms this statement, Shrinvatam Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanam Vidyantastoya Bhadrani Vidunoti Saritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma Supersoul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who relishes his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. If the devotee at all wants to cleanse his heart, he must chant and hear the glories of the Lord, Sri Krishna, Shrinvatam Svakata Krishna. This is a simple process. Krishna himself will help cleanse the heart because he is already seated there. Krishna wants to continue living within the heart, and the Lord wants to give directions, but one has to keep his heart as clean as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kept the Gundicha temple. The devotee therefore has to cleanse his heart just as the Lord cleansed the Gundicha temple. In this way, one can be pacified and enriched in devotional service. If the heart is filled with straw, grains of sand, weeds, or dust, in other words, anya bilasha purna, one cannot enthrone the Supreme Personality of Godhead there. The heart must be cleansed of all material motives brought about through fruit of work, speculative knowledge, the mystic yoga system, and so many other forms of so-called meditation. The heart must be cleansed without ulterior motive. As Srila Rupa Goswami says, Anya bilashita shunyam jnana karmadyanavridam. In other words, there should not be any external motive. One should not attempt material upliftment, understanding the Supreme by speculative knowledge, fruit of activity, severe austerity and penance, and so on. All those activities are against the natural growth of spontaneous love of Godhead. As soon as these are present within the heart should be understood to be unclean and therefore unfit to serve as Krishna's sitting place. We cannot perceive the Lord's presence in our hearts unless our hearts are cleansed. A material desire is explained as a desire to enjoy the material world to its fullest extent. In modern language, this is called economic development. An inordinate desire for economic development is considered to be like straws and grains of sand within the heart. If one is overly engaged in material activity, the heart will always remain disturbed. As stated by Narottam Das Thakur, samsara vishanale divanishi hiva hiya jvale judaite na koinu upai. In other words, endeavor for material opulence is against the principle of devotional service. Material enjoyment includes activities such as great sacrifices for auspicious activity, charity, austerity, elevation to the higher planetary system, and even living happily within the material world. Modernized material benefits are like the dust of material contamination. When the dust is agitated by the whirlwind of fruit of activity, it overcomes the heart. Thus, the mirror of the heart is covered with dust. There are many desires to perform auspicious and inauspicious activities, but people do not know how life after life they are keeping their hearts unclean. One who cannot give up the desire for fruit of activity is understood to be covered by the dust of material contamination. Karmis generally think that the interaction of fruit of activities can be counteracted by another karma or fruit of activity. This is certainly a mistaken conception. If one is deluded by such a conception, he is cheated by his own activity. Such activities have been compared to an elephant's bathing. An elephant may bathe very thoroughly, but as soon as it comes out of the river, it immediately takes some sand from the land and throws it all over its body. If one suffers due to his past fruitive activities, he cannot counteract his suffering by performing auspicious activities. The sufferings of human society cannot be counteracted by material plans. The only way suffering can be mitigated is by Krishna consciousness. When one takes to Krishna consciousness and engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord, beginning with chanting and hearing the glories of the Lord, the cleansing of the heart begins. I'll pause there. Just the purport goes on for another 2 pages, and then there's more verses about the cleansing of the Gundicha temple, and just if there's any sharing, questions, realizations, comments at this time, I'll pause there. Anandini.
Thank you. Yeah, while listening, I was thinking about cleanliness. And
Yeah.
I heard cleanliness is close to godliness.
Yes.
And a while ago, I heard a class where Srila Prabhupada said in India, the women, they sweep the outside of the house, like the entrance, every
Yeah.
day to make it clean. And many years ago, my mother said to me, like, it's important that the entrance is clean so that guests feel welcome.
Yeah.
And I never, I never paid attention to that. But after hearing that class from Srila Prabhupada, I started to sweep outside the door. And it's just a really, like, it's a simple thing to do. And it has such a big effect, like on my consciousness. And when I come home, I see, oh, it's clean. And I think when guests come, I assume it has an impression on them too. So
Thanks very much for sharing that.
that was going through my mind.
Okay, so Srila Prabhupada has confirmed your mother's guidance.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, this cleanliness. In our Bhagavad Gita course, we're on the second part of chapter 18, and that starts with the qualities of Brahman, the Brahminical qualities. Samo tamas tapo shocham. Shocham is cleanliness or purity. It's described, a Brahminical trait is one leaves a place cleaner than he found it. That's a Brahminical trait we can aspire for. And I like how you described that, Anandini. Like, yeah, we come back and it's not just an external thing, it has an effect on the mind, the consciousness. And when things are clean, neat, organized, welcoming, and that's also Lord Chaitanya is giving his 108% effort in engaging everyone, cleansing the Gundicha temple, and then finer cleansing and finer, and that's so we can look at our living place, our workspaces, and to see how Brahminical Sattvic bhakti that is, and what's reflected about the condition of our heart. Thanks for sharing.
Say something about cleanliness because you're just like staple, and it comes up a lot in the reading.
Yeah.
This elephant is bathed and it goes up in the. And I was thinking about, okay, that I used to have horses and they do the same thing. So you have to tie them because they immediately go lay down and rub in the sand.
Yeah.
You just scrub it all off. And then the dogs do that too. So I was going through like, we'll probably use the elephant because he's from India, but it applies to all the animals. And then I had a reflection, wait, it applies to me too. I can think of things that where I do devotional activities and then go screw it up right afterwards. And so I was like really appreciating Prabhupada's example, not to be animal-like. I mean, he says that a lot, like
Hare Krishna. Is anyone here? Oh.
that?
Hello, we got cut off, but we're back now. Okay.